We're now joined by Nick Loeb. He is one of the executive producers on that film. Good to see you. So,
thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Pleasure to have you. So, I understand that you are considering on filing a lawsuit against Facebook. Can you tell us why?
Well, yes, we launched this crowdfunder last week to raise money for our film, which is a feature film, not a documentary, something that's never really been done about the truth behind Roe v. Wade. We launched it on Indiegogo. We did a lot of our promotions through Facebook, as most people do to do crowdfunding, and Facebook sort of controls all of the ability to raise awareness and for crowdfunding. And they blocked us from sharing our posts with our friends. We even then went and paid for ads, and they blocked us. Even after we gave them money, they blocked us from sharing the ads and other people. A few news articles came out, they unblocked us, but they've been blocking us again. And I think that, no different than the court case now and the Supreme Court has going on with the cake, I think we have equal protection as well, and also antitrust claims against Facebook as well for prohibiting us from promoting our film purely based on the fact that it's telling the truth and pro-life.
So, and I want to go back to the film too, because on your crowdfunding page, you describe this, and again, you said in your words, this is not a documentary, this is a film, as a true story. What do you hope to accomplish by releasing this film?
Well, changing lives, and hopefully anybody who sees the movie will see the truth about what happened. It's really the story of what happened between 1966 to 1973. It is the growth of the women's rights movement, how they took on abortion as their issue versus the pro-life movement, and how they manipulated Norma Corvey, who was Jane Roe, and Planned Parenthood manipulated the media and the courts into coming up with the decision to legalize abortion. And it shines a spotlight onto what happened during that time. And hopefully, back then they had fake news too, coming up with fake statistics to try to persuade the general public into legalizing abortion. And hopefully anybody who sees it and sees the truth, maybe will have a change of mind and a change of heart. I've had several friends read the script who are pro-choice and now are weighing on their conscience the realities of what abortion is today.
Nick, Alveda King, the niece of Martin Luther King Jr., is a producer, as I mentioned, on this film, but I understand she's also making a cameo appearance. It is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, after all. What made her want to be a part of this project?
Well, for Alveda, she's been passionately pro-life, passionately preaching around the country for years to protect the lives of the unborn. I think one of the other things was the protagonist on our movie. The protagonist in our movie is a woman named Mildred Jefferson, who was the first African-American woman to graduate from Harvard Medical School, and she was the second president of National Right to Life. And she was a champion in the fight to protect life, and she was also an influence on Ronald Reagan becoming pro-life. And I think this was very exciting for Alveda, black rights, a black woman graduating from Harvard in medical school, and Alveda is going to be playing a little cameo as her mother. So I think that was very honored for Alveda. And, if you go to www.roevwademovie.com, you can see Alveda speaking about the film. And the great thing also about the film is we wanted to be inclusive. People can sign up to actually be in it, to work on it, to work in different departments, to even have a speaking role if you make a big enough donation.
So, Nick, this film also addresses the issue of racism. Without giving too much away, can you tell us why it focuses on that?
Well, it starts with the beginnings of Planned Parenthood with our founder, Margaret Sanger. Margaret Sanger founded Planned Parenthood, and although she was not for abortion per se, she was about population control. One of her first initiatives was called the Negro Project, and that was all about figuring out the ability to try to reduce the amount of African Americans in our country. And so that's the whole basis of Planned Parenthood, was racism. And I think this is really, shows the true colors and the history and the cycle of Planned Parenthood. It was interesting. I was having an email debate with somebody the other day. Said, we should all be funding Planned Parenthood because we should fund abortions of minority communities that can't afford them. I think that's the most outrageous statement that I've ever heard, that we should be funding abortions for minority communities. I mean, aren't we supposed to be helping and supporting minority communities, not depleting them?
Well, let me ask you this, and obviously you kind of suggested that you hope your film may be kind of this awakening for other people. Do you believe Roe versus Wade will be overturned?
I think over time it will be minimized. I think it was a horrible decision. I mean, even if you ask the justices today that are liberal, they will tell you it's the worst decision in American history. There was really no evidence. Also, science has dramatically changed, since 1973. And back then, when they made this decision, they didn't really understand when life began. They didn't know life began really at conception or when heartbeats were. I think the justices also were conflicted at the time because there was a huge women's rights movement that was backing this. I don't know if you know, but two of the justices were also conflicted. One had a wife working for Planned Parenthood at the time, and the other one had a daughter volunteering for Planned Parenthood at the time. So there was a lot of conflicts of interest during this, and I don't know if Roe will ever be actually overturned, but I think maybe it will be minimized through different court cases going to the Supreme Court in the future.
If people would like to find out more information about your film, I guess don't go to Facebook, right? Where should they go?
RoeVWadeMovie.com. You can watch the video. You can email us. I mean, we'll take contributions, anything from $1 and on up. The more people that get involved, the better. We need all the support we can because this is something Hollywood won't make. Hollywood's actually trying to make a Roe v. Wade movie themselves, which is the women's rights version, which is the sort of what I call the Wikipedia version. Doesn't get into the actual true story of what happened.
So when do you expect this film to be released? One final question to you.
Well, hopefully we'll shoot this spring and this summer, and then we've got already distribution on 1,000 screens, so hopefully sometime by the end of the year.
All right, so again, the website they should go to?
RoeVWadeMovie.com.
Nick Loeb, thanks so much for your time. Pleasure to have you. Best of luck.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you very much. Take care.